Well, today's case is all hellfire and brimstone with a little missing persons and a murder in the first degree. Tonight's True Crime Tuesday brought to you by two former cops. What? True crime with a police perspective? That's crazy. Well, it's real. And tonight, Laura Bible and Ashley Freeman, right here on the Firestop Podcast channel. Stay tuned, baby.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on Sunday.
This is about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Both chats. That feels good. It feels good to be simulcasting. Does that sound cool? Simulcasting.
Very
sounds
official.
Like a new, sounds like one of those new pornography. You know what I'm talking about, right?
VR.
Maybe. It's like my recommended videos are fisting and simulcasting. And old women three ways. No, I'm just kidding. It's all mermaids. Sarah Kelch is in the chat. Our resident mermaid. She's Mermaid Sarah on the Instagrams, and I absolutely love it. Listen, tonight's going to be a lot of fun. Well, maybe. Depends on what you think is fun. But, true crime is fun to me. It can be fun for you, too. Just give it a try. Just give it a shot. My wife just walked in bringing me a cold beer. Thanks, honey. Tonight's show is brought to you by FactorMeals.com. Promo code Wolfpack50. Meal planning to the next level. And we also got ghostbed.com/Wolfpack and officerprivacy.com/Wolfpack. Support those who support us. And listen, I'm not going to bore you with that. We've got some shout outs tonight that we got to get through. We'll do those at the end, though. Thank you guys for DMing us at the new Instagram for Failure to Stop True Crime. That is called Jrama True Crime. True Crime Jrama. Am I right? Wrong? Indifferent?
True crime drama.
Yeah. True crime drama. Oh, True Crime Jrama. I don't know why you call it drama. That is not drama. It's Jrama. It's J with a Rama. Jrama.
I'll change it just for you.
No, I like it that way. I like it Jrama. I just don't want you to call it drama because that's incorrect.
Okay. Jrama.
Right? Because if it was drama, it would be spelled with a D.
Well, like I told you before, it's from Entourage.
Yeah, but
that's how they spell it.
No self-respecting, God-fearing first responder has ever watched that movie.
Oh, the show? Of course. Nobody.
We were too busy watching Sex in the City. Did you know? What do you think it is? Sex in the City or Sex and the City? Don't answer that. Let's just get to true crime. I'm not going to waste this time. Thank you guys for being in the live chats. If you would help us break the algorithm on YouTube by leaving us a comment, not in the live chat section, but in the comment section. And for those of you, for the love of all that is holy, for all of you thousands of podcast listeners that we get, dude, drop us a rating and review. Here's the crazy thing. We're at like almost 1,800 reviews, and we haven't gotten a single review in like 3 weeks. And I'm not sure how that happens. Like, how do you go from getting like 4 or 5 reviews every single show up to 1,700 reviews, and then everybody just stops reviewing? Like, I don't think that people just stopped reviewing. Also, the same thing is like weird on Instagram. 419 new followers on Instagram. Haven't got a new follower in over a week. How does that work? How do you go from like 400 in a month to like not one in a week? I don't know what's going on. All I'm saying is we need help cracking that algorithm. So if you could, give us a rating or review on iTunes or Spotify. Leave us an Instagram message or leave us a comment and subscribe on our YouTube. Do one of those things. One of those things will help greatly. I don't think we're shadow banned. We don't say anything offensive. It's not like we're like, chanting MAGA or anything over here. Maybe they just don't like cops. I don't know. But I don't know. This is an exciting true crime story. I'm ready. It's called Slaughter in a Small Town. the Laura Bible and Ashley Freeman story. Take it away, Kendra Jrama.
All right, our case tonight starts in a small town, as the title suggests. It's in a county called
small town.
Yeah. Oh God. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. We'll be talking about that for 45 minutes. So it starts in a town called Welch, Oklahoma, which is in a county called Craig County that has less than 15,000 people in it. So it's very, very small. This is December 30th, early morning hours of 1999. The world is about to end. It's Y2K, coming up in a couple of days. People are out and about doing some crazy shit. And someone notices a house on fire in this small community. Now, this is a big deal because
arson in a small town.
Yeah. This is a big deal because nothing like this happens. So everybody's calling everyone. Everyone's calling their moms, their aunts, their uncles. Cops show up. Fire department shows up. One person that was driving around kind of nosy about it was the brother of Laura Bible, who is one of our victims in this case. And he realizes that the house that's on fire is the house that Laura was spending the night at, the house of her best friend, Ashley Freeman. So he calls his mother, Lauria Bible, says, "Mom, you need to get down here quick. The Freemans is on fire." So Lauria Bible, Laura's mother, goes to the scene. She makes contact with law enforcement and the coroner, who she claims to know personally. And she's talking to this coroner, and she says, "Did you find anybody inside?" And she was like, "All I can tell you is there's a female with a ring on her left finger who's born children." She realizes that this is Kathy Freeman, which is her daughter's friend's mother.
Okay.
In the home that night was Kathy Freeman, her husband, Danny Freeman, and then the two girls, Ashley Freeman and Laura Bible. But the only person they find inside is Kathy. So now this has become very, very suspicious. And rumors kind of start flying, theories start forming that Danny must have killed Kathy in a fit of rage, taken the girls and gone somewhere with them. So they take all their resources that they have, and they're trying to find these girls. They're trying to investigate what's going on, but they can't find any leads. There's no clues. Obviously, the house is on fire, so they can't really gather a lot of evidence from this burnt up house. And they basically just run with this idea that Danny has killed his wife and taken the girls, probably doing God knows what. So Lauria Bible stays there she says she was there for probably close to 24 hours waiting to see if they would come back. After a while, she realizes they're not going to come back, and she goes home. The investigators leave, and they've turned the burnt home over to the families. So the next morning, still no sign of Danny or the girls. And Lauria takes her husband and goes back to the house to see if they can find any clues. Maybe something that will lead investigators to figure out where these people have gone.
Where are the cops at?
Well, the cops showed up and they did their initial investigation. They kind of were like, well, this happened on the early morning hours of, like I said, like 1 or 2 o'clock on December 30th. So all day the next day, they're at this house.
Okay.
Doing their investigation, trying to find stuff. You can only stay on scene for so long before you realize, what you're going to do.
Right.
So the next day, the 31st of December, is when Lauria and her husband go back to this house to see if they can find some sort of clue. They arrive on scene and they notice that the family vehicle is still there, and there's just debris everywhere. The house is pretty much incinerated. The floor is fallen through. This is a mobile home, so it's like totally burnt up. But Lauria thinks that it's kind of weird because all of the appliances have fallen through and just the structure has collapsed on itself, and she didn't feel like the investigators searched the house well enough for these girls. So,
Oh, like maybe they're in a. Well, it can't be a basement. It's a trailer.
I mean, trailers are kind of up a little bit, like on blocks.
Right. Right.
So it fell through. So she thought, well, maybe they didn't look hard enough.
The kids were down underneath the
Yes.
the rubble. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Tracking.
So her and her husband go searching through this burnt house, and they look up and they notice something on whatever's left of the floor. They climb up there and they see the charred body of an adult human. And they realize this must be Danny. He's too big to be one of the girls. So
So all the rumors
missed
of
that.
Danny murdering, and then I bet all those people felt like assholes.
Yeah.
Which, didn't that bother you, like, as a cop, like when people kind of poison or taint investigations? Like, you're already investigating something and you already have a lot of facts, but you're going to put that out to the public, and then somebody comes to you and they're like, "Oh, I think that so did it," and you're like, "Oh, I don't know," but like, it's just unbased. You know what I mean? Most of the time, it's just like an unbased rumor. Like,
Yeah.
what cause did Danny have to make you just jump to, oh, he killed his wife and then stole the kids?
So the reason why that was a rumor in this case, I get what you're saying, though. That's really annoying because everyone thinks they're a detective when that kind of stuff happens. But the reason why people thought that was because Danny had an accident with a muzzle loader gun,
Right.
the black powder.
Yeah.
And it blew up in his face pretty much, and he had to have metal plates put in his head to fix his skull, basically. And after the accident, his family and friends noticed that he had a little bit of a temper that he didn't have before.
That's pretty common with a TBI.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
so
actually very common with TBIs.
yeah, exactly.
Lots of
And he
TBIs,
was
stuff like that.
he was also he grew marijuana and he sold it.
Oh, okay.
So
I mean,
people
still, you
think-
can whack your wife and steal your kids. It's fine. Now, have you ever been in a trailer that somebody didn't have a negligent discharge in? I don't know that I've ever been in a trailer that somebody didn't accidentally fire their firearm inside of the trailer.
no.
Every trailer I've
neither.
ever been in, there's been a random bullet hole in it somewhere.
Yeah.
I went in one time where there was a bullet hole and then a huge singe mark. And I asked the guy, I said, "What'd you shoot your ceiling with, bud?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a flare gun."
A flare gun.
I'm not making this up. Hey, listen, a shout out to Tito Smooves watching on Rumble. Just subscribed over on Rumble. He's a new subscriber. Thank you so much. Last known presidents: Eric Couch, Marines Bloodbath, Michael Hendricks. Last known, I already went through that one. Tactical Dude, Dead Leg. I'm not going to keep scrolling, but thank you guys so much for being in the lives tonight. And we got some shout outs at the end of the show. So stay with us. See what you guys are missing on the audio side, even though we have like fucking 99% more listeners on audio than we do on YouTube. YouTube's fun. If you ever get a chance, tune in on the YouTube. We do all sorts of funsy stuff on here. Daniel Sanders, what up? All right, go ahead, sorry.
So Danny's got this metal plate in his head. Keep that in mind because Lorraine Bible calls Danny's brother to the scene. She's obviously like, this is Danny, must be. He shows up and he notices that there's like a shiny metal something coming through his face, and he's like, okay, that must be the titanium plates or whatever they put in his head.
Right.
So among, I mean, that's a pretty big discovery, but Lorraine also finds Laura's purse there. And like I said, the car was still parked in the driveway, which would kind of negate any rumors that the girls did something, I think. Because if you're a teenager and you kill a couple people, your first thing would probably be to take the vehicle and run away. So they call the cops and they come back out. They take Danny. When they do an autopsy on Danny and Kathy, they realize that both of them had been shot in the back of the head with a shotgun. Oh. So now they're looking at double homicide. And at this point, they're considering the girls abducted. So the case has escalated at this point. Law enforcement's out there doing their thing. While they're waiting around, while Lorraine and Danny's brother are waiting around to get some more news, Danny's brother is approached by two men who tell him that they are private investigators, and they really wanted to help figure out who these people are that murdered this married couple and abducted their kids. So they tell him, if you give us $1, we'll work for you, because you have to pay, obviously. Like, that gives them the authority to now investigate. So he says, yeah, sure thing, gives them $1, and they start immediately. And while they're walking the perimeter of this crime scene, they notice that there is an insurance card, a vehicle insurance card on the ground in the driveway. So they see a female's name on it. They ask Danny's brother and Laureen if either of them know who this person is. They say no. We don't know who that person is, but their insurance card has ended up in the driveway of this home where this double murder has happened. So that would be a clue. So the private
is a clue.
Yes, a pretty big clue. So the private investigator takes this clue to the Craig County Sheriff's Office and tells them, this is what I found.
I found a clue. I found a clue. Like, all right, county detective.
Yeah. So
and they're like, what is it? He's like, it's an ID card. He's like, damn, that's a pretty good clue, actually.
That's a pretty fucking good clue.
Actually, we found this clue.
We left it there for you because we knew you wanted to.
We just wanted you to have something
contribute.
to do.
Yeah,
we found this.
We knew that was there.
We knew it was there. We already took pictures of it. Wait, you ruined the crime scene. You're leaving that there.
Yeah.
So, good job.
Well, unfortunately, that's not how it went. The private investigator went to the sheriff's office and presented them with this clue, and they basically said, "What the hell makes you think that has anything to do with this?"
Dude, you have to. You have to at this point. Like, you got to save face.
Now, yeah, right.
They're like taking notes. They're like, that's the dumbest thing ever. Okay, exactly where did you find this stupid piece of evidence? Right? Where exactly? Can you show me on this map this dumb piece of this stupid? You're so stupid. Right here, right? Did you take pictures of this stupid clue?
You big dumb idiot.
Big idiot.
Oh my God. So they kind of blow him off a little bit, but they do take the insurance card. And I don't know if you ever worked with private investigators when you were a cop.
You know what? And I really have never had a problem with them until I started podcasting, and then we've gotten them on the show. They're trained reps, podcasters. But in real life, I've really never had a hard time with. Actually, in my experience, they've been pretty helpful. Actually, aside from the private investigators are trying to find women cheating and stuff, and then you like get that call that they're like, keeping Tom or a stalker in the car. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But like on real cases, I've never really had a problem with PIs.
So I used to work in a pretty, well, it wasn't that populated, but it was pretty like mid-range city. And we had always had calls for suspicious vehicles, and it was always a private investigator. And I'm not speaking for all private investigators, but I had one positive experience with one, and it's because they want to help so bad. But I think some of them forget that they're not law enforcement.
Right.
And
but
I would
a lot of
have
them,
to.
Like up here, a lot of them, almost all of them are ex-law enforcement.
And that would be extremely helpful, because I think that someone who's ex-law enforcement knows, like, okay, this is the job. I'm not doing XYZ.
Dude, shout out to my buddy. Well, I don't want to say his name. It's his birthday today, though. I want to say happy birthday. But he's actually a private investigator for Pokemon.
No shit. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Dude, banking like 6 figures, too. Buys counterfeit Pokemons. Was a police officer for like at least 10 years, I think. Left. Now he works for Pokemon. Buying
Is that real?
Pokemon cards.
They really do that?
Promise you. Like every time I talk to him, he's like, yeah, I'm on my way to Kentucky to go to this like fair. You know, what do you call those like places where they
like
sell
a con?
shit? No, yeah, well, no, like where do they go? Where a flea market. So I'm headed to Kentucky to this flea market. They're selling counterfeit, blah blah. And this one guy's trying to sell me this fake Charizard card for like $10,000, you know, or something like that, $3,000, you know, whatever. I don't know Pokemon very much. Now, this is real. I'm gonna get him on the show. Well, the problem is I tried to get him on the show before, but he's like an undercover Pokemon buyer. So he
I'm not laughing at him. I'm just, this sounds so silly.
Bro, he makes so much money. He was down in Atlanta. He bought like, I'm not even joking right now. I think it was a $10,000 card that he bought. It was a stolen, like it was stolen from like a Pokemon gallery or something. I don't know the whole facts. I don't know the whole fact, but I know it was like 10 grand. And he was trying to track this thing down. I was talking on the phone. He's like, yeah, dude, I'm in Atlanta right now trying to hunt down this blah, blah, blah card. And I was like, bro, like they flying you to Atlanta for that? And he was like, bro, the card's worth 10 grand. It was stolen. I was like, what? Dude, he's like, yeah, man, it's real deal shit, dude. I'm like, dude, whatever, man. There goes my hero. We're all laughing. Laughing's way to the bank, dude. This guy's like real deal cop shit.
I know. I'm sorry.
Making 6 figures, dude. Nobody's spitting on him, pissing on him, shitting on him. No PIs are finding an insurance card, making you look like a dumbass. Dude, all the way to the bank on Pokemons.
You said undercover. What did you say? Undercover Pokemon. I'm sorry. That's funny. That's a dope job. I'm not laughing at him.
We should do a true crime episode on like solving a Pokemon case.
Oh my fuck. Anyway. So this insurance card has the name of a mystery woman on it. And the Craig County Sheriff's Office takes this. They contact her naturally. And they were like, hey, any idea why your insurance card might be at this homicide scene? And she was like, no, I don't know why it would be there, but I don't drive that car. My boyfriend, Phil Welch, drives that car.
Uh-oh.
So she threw her boo under the bus. Damn, and they contact Phil and they're talking to him. And he does mention that he knows the Freemans. And it's kind of convoluted because there's not a lot of... It's very vague. The information is very vague. During this interview, he mentions that he knows the Freemans, and then he starts talking about his buddy, David Pennington, who is like, in Welch's words, a kingpin of meth making. And they're like best friends, and they're always just hanging out, smoking meth, doing all kinds of meth head shit with their other friend, Ronnie Busick. So these 3 men are now known associates. One of them drives a vehicle to which this insurance card belonged in. It was at the scene. This seems like something that you would take and run with as an investigator, especially since you have 0 leads and it's a homicide, but there was no further anything with this. They did the interview and that was it. So because of that, the case...
I mean, are we talking like some small town shenanigans here? You know, I always tell people that like big giant city police, there could be corruption, but it's not. It's probably going to be corruption on a much higher level. But small town agencies are much easier to be infiltrated with some kind of crazy corruption. Do you think that possibly this one investigator kind of knows the meth head, or you know what I mean? Maybe he's getting a little on the down low or something like that. Because it seems very odd that he would just ignore, you know, because at the end of the day, you still want to solve the case. Because if you don't, you look like an even bigger piece of shit when you've got one crime in your town in the whole last year and you couldn't fucking solve it.
It's very possible. I mean? I hear you. It's very possible that they were being corrupted and they were smoking meth. But
I mean, it's smoking meth, but maybe taking some dollars.
Sure.
On a down low.
It's very possible. I mean, it's kind of up in the air because there really is no answer as to why this happened. Some people say it was ego. Some people would say, the Freeman family especially would say that it's because the Freemans and the sheriff's office had really bad blood. Kathy and Danny had 2 children, obviously Ashley, but they also had a son named Shane, who was like a piece of crap. He was always burglarizing stuff and running from the cops.
That's real too, because like I've had a gang member that died on my beat, And we were all supposed to be like conducting traffic stops, and literally every check's off. Hey, do you have anything in the car that we need to know about? And do you have any information on the whereabouts of blah, 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 and who killed him? But the dude was such a piece of shit that I was like, I'm not going to ask anybody.
Well, Shane was shot and killed by the Craig County Sheriff's Office before all of this happened. And then they had issues with Danny after that. So some people say that they kind of like botched the case because they
they just didn't care. They were just like, yeah, this was going to happen anyway. So like, good riddance. But here's my other question. Why are you letting your daughter spend the night in a trailer with a dude like this?
Well, in interviews, Lauren says that she didn't know at the time, which I guess is possible. I mean,
you can tell a meth head's trailer.
I know.
You can look at a trailer and be like, a meth head lives there. Like nobody, no meth dealer has like a really nice trailer.
That's true. I mean, but this is, I mean, Oklahoma, this area, I think it's all pretty much trailers anyway.
And
so
if it
maybe
was a nice trailer, a tornado would have hit it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually how it works. So that's a theory as to why it was kind of
I like that theory.
Blown off or botched.
It seems like the sheriff's department really didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because of all this, the case goes cold. They have a lead, but they're not using it for whatever reason. And throughout the next year, Laureen and Danny's brother and the rest of the Freeman family, they're trying their best to find these girls. They do charity events. They do search and rescue missions. Laureen Bible actually got an informant contacted her and said, you might want to talk to this guy who's involved in a cartel. He's in a town like an hour or so southeast. And she's like, all right, tell him I want to meet him and ask him a question.
Sure.
So this gets passed back to this guy who agrees to meet with Laureen, who's just like a normal mom. She goes and meets this cartel guy. And he's like, aren't you afraid I'm going to shoot you? And she's like, well, if you shoot at me, it must mean that I'm close to my daughter.
Ooh.
So but he tells her, right. He says, well, two things. I don't kill women and I don't kill children. So that was also kind of a dead in the water. So like I said, the case just kind of goes cold for several years until 2004, when a man by the name of Jeremy Jones from Mobile, Alabama, is arrested for another great place.
Fucking Mobile, Alabama.
He's arrested for the rape and murder of a woman by the name of Lisa Nichols. And while he's in custody for this, he admits to 13 murders, one of which is Laura and Ashley.
How did he do that from Mobile, Alabama? He just decided to roll through Oklahoma and rando pick a trailer that just happens to be a meth head's trailer?
I guess all of these people travel between like Oklahoma and Kansas and they're all over the place.
Yeah, I don't think Alabama's anywhere near Oklahoma, is it?
It's not that close, no. Especially Mobile. Mobile's like down south. So, but
I can't stand Mobile. It's like it's maybe one of the worst towns I've ever had to stay in.
I've been there one time, and
I've been there twice and stayed for a couple of days each time.
Yeah, I don't really remember anything about it other than the tunnel, but
terrible.
So this Jeremy Jones guy kind of becomes a viable suspect because he makes claims that he went driving around looking for the Freeman house because Danny owed a bunch of money to a drug dealer, pretty much. He says that he kills Danny and Kathy, sets fire to the home, takes the girls, kills them and dumps them in a mine shaft in Kansas. So I'm assuming at the time of the murders he was in the area, because Welch is in Oklahoma, is like kind of right on the border of Kansas. Okay. So there's a little bit of back and forth there, but he points them in the direction to this mine shaft. Investigators find it, but there's no sign of the girls anywhere.
I worked a murder It was a missing persons thing, a murder drug dealer, and they said that they dropped him exact same thing in a mine shaft in I want to say it was in like Henderson, North Carolina, or something like that. And we called the Henderson guys, and they went to go look. And you know what? That's not true. I heard about this when I was on the dive recovery team. I heard this story, and they called the dive recovery team that I was on to go up there to try to get in there because it was full of water. And they were like, "Yeah, no, we're not going down there at all." So literally, that police department was just like, "Yep, nope, he's not in there. We don't know. Didn't find anything." But they said like they never actually went in there because it was so gnarly. So I wonder if it like could be one of those situations where
it's possible.
He's in there forever.
I mean, it's Kansas, so I don't know how much it rains there or what was in this mine shaft. But they didn't find the girls, and later he recants his confession anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I figured that was pretty far fetched anyway.
And I don't know why. What?
Factor meals, meal planning with factor meals. It's not far fetched to think that you can have an amazing meal, fresh and never frozen, delivered right to your door by Factor Meals. Go to factormeals.com right now and use the promo code Wolfpack50 to get you a very healthy, clean meal catered to the way you want it. You want vegan-friendly, vegetarian-friendly, gluten-free, protein-heavy. Go to Factor Meals right now and choose from one of 300 different menu items, all prepared by chefs. They're so nicely packaged. They come in this big box. You can get 3 a week, 4 a week, 5 a week, 7 a week. This is cheaper than going to the grocery store, buying your shrimp, buying your chicken, buying your gravy, cooking it all, meal planning for the whole week. This is meal planning made absolutely simple. Every first responder that's trying to get in shape, lose weight, do your thing. Plus, the breakfast shakes are insane. I love these things. All the stuff that Factor Meals has is so elegant, pretty, and nice. You will look like an absolute rock star in your squad room, in your first responder bay, wherever it is that you eat lunch. Go to factormeals.com right now. Choose from one of 300 different menu items. Customize your meals. And I'm telling you, dude, it's a lot of food. It's a lot of food. So head over to factormeals.com right now and get you a meal today. All right, back to you.
Okay, so after Jones recants this confession, which I don't know what or why these guys do that. It happens a lot. There was another guy that came out and did kind of the same thing. He admitted to it.
It gets you perks. I think it gets you perks in prison. That's why you do it. You can trade it for cigarettes. You can trade it for commissary. You can trade it for walks outside. I know one guy who tried to help solve a serial killer type thing, but one of his things was that he wanted to go to a funeral in person, and so that's kind of how they figured out that he was full of shit, because they were like, there's no way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that that's part of the reason why a lot of these guys do these fake.
That's a good point. Just to get out and like drive around and show people.
Like, look, man, I would love to give you some information on these 2 little girls, but I mean, prison's hard, man, and I don't have anybody on the outside, and my commissary card's empty, and what's in it for me? I mean, I'm in prison for life. I'm like, well, I mean, we could make prison a little bit easier for you. Well, how easy? You think you could give me a room by myself? Well, maybe. Give me some cigs, sure.
That's like
turn that camera off. Let me have some porn for a couple hours.
That's like Otis Toole, who I'll cover at some point. He did that a lot.
Well, there you go.
So the case goes cold after this. Again, this was in 2004 when he admitted to it or falsely confessed to it. The girls were taken in 99. And in 2011, the case is reopened by DA investigator Gary Stansel. And he's going through this case file and he's feeling a little overwhelmed. He kind of notices the insurance card thing, but it's moving real slow. He's not getting a lot of shit done on this. A couple years later, in 2013, he teams up with the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigations and Agent Tammy Ferrari, which is a great name.
Ooh, damn, she strips. She strips, dude. That's not a real detective name. I'm calling bullshit. They're like, hey, we need a name for the stories going viral. What are you doing? She's like, Tammy Ferrari. Next on stage, Tammy Ferrari.
That is her real name, but yes, it does sound very much like a stripper name. So Ferrari and Stansel team up and they go through all this giant case file and they start trying to re-interview a lot of these people that were involved. They see the name Phil Welch over and over and over throughout this case file, and they're trying to find the witnesses that were directly related to him, but it was difficult. Like they couldn't track these people down. Conveniently, in 2016, Lorene and her niece start a Facebook page to see if they can get any tips. Because again, literally nothing has come about this case at all since the time that it happened. So they start getting tips on this Facebook group. And one of the tips that they get is that like a friend of a friend of a friend of this person knew about some Polaroids that existed that allegedly were of Ashley and Laura. And they were pictured on a bed, bound and gagged, unfortunately. So Lorene, yeah. So, which is crazy because all this time has gone by and whoever made this tip didn't ever think to call investigators. Maybe they were scared or I don't know.
I mean, that makes me think it's bullshit for sure.
Yeah. Well, Lorene takes this information and goes to Stansel and Ferrari and says, here's what I got. So they look into it and they eventually find one of Pennington, who's one of the 3 musketeers that were involved in this, one of his ex-girlfriends. I don't believe it was the same one that had the car, but one of his ex-girlfriends, she agrees to do this interview. And she does say that she remembers them all bragging about abducting these girls and taking pictures of them. They held them for 2 weeks, drugging them and raping them and just being assholes with these girls. And yeah, it's pretty disgusting what they were doing. Because they were they were just running around bragging to all their friends. There was another woman who lived with Pennington, not at the time. I think it was either right after or during the time that this happened. The girls were taken to Phil Welch's house, but this woman who lived with Pennington remembers them all talking about this disgusting bullshit.
You know it drives me nuts as a cop is that like, and this is why I like doing true crime with you, because you can understand, like evil exists. Like the rest of the world doesn't understand that there are fucking evil forces at play. And the fact that you can brag about something so heinous and it not get back to anybody, like it just shows you how normalized evil is in this world. And just because you have separated yourself from evil does not mean that this shit doesn't exist. And that is the only reason why I enjoy true crime, is because finally the world kind of gets a glimpse of what cops deal with on the regular is real evil shit. And real evil shit happens all the time. Like, and these are just some of the more salacious evil things. But I think even now with true crime the way it is, that people still put evil into a bubble. Like so many true crime hosts, left-leaning true crime hosts that want to sally this stuff up or not be audacious and choose not to cover stories because they're just too gruesome. They need to no, I think the people need to know. People need to know that this fucking evil exists, and it should be told in a way that makes you cringe and makes you want to combat that. And they're like, let's see, my wife's in here now. What is one of those one podcasts? My wife is a true crime expert, by the way. Jrama. One day you guys will have to dine together and talk about it. But while she's in here, what is the true crime group of hosts that you said started out like ultra liberal, and they still claim to be ultra liberal, but they still discuss things in a much more like supporting the police type of way? Do you know who I'm talking about? We had this discussion. She's getting all shy on me, folks. She's getting all shy on me.
Is it Crime Junkies?
Is it Crime Junkies? No, she says no.
Okay.
No. Okay.
They got in trouble.
put her
But
on
I'm
the
not going to talk about that.
He did? I want to know. What hit me on the drama? We'll save it
Well,
for the end
they-
of the show. We'll save it for the
Okay.
end of the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
If you wanna hear the drama with Crime Junkie and Jrama, Jrama.
The drama with Jrama.
Wait till the end of the show. By the way, Chris Dreyer just entering up in the chats. Greg, Daniel Sanders, and all the other guys over on Rumble. Thank you guys so much for being here in the live chats. We really appreciate you.
So as they're talking to this ex-girlfriend or this friend that lived, it's all, again, it's kind of convoluted because these people are cooperative, but not really, kind of.
Okay.
She tells the investigators that she has seen these photographs herself and that she knows for a fact that it was at Phil Welch's house because she recognized the bedspread and the room that they were in this photo. So this is kind of like piecing this this investigation together, and the Stansel and Ferrari have enough basically to write an affidavit or at least interview these guys. But they realize that Pennington and Welch are deceased, and the only one that's still alive is Ronnie Busick. He's incarcerated in Kansas for something that's unrelated. So they take a trip to this jail that he's in, and they interview him. And of course, he clams up and he's like, "Oh, I kind of think I know Phil Welch. If I knew something, I'd tell you, but I don't know." But they feel like they have enough to write a warrant, so they go back, write the warrant. They go back out to the jail. They present this warrant to Busick, and then he starts to kind of loosen up and talk a little bit. He doesn't out and out say anything initially. He kind of is like, "Yeah, well, if I was there, I would have been in the car," or, "Yeah, they might have done something, but I mean, I knew the guy and there was a drug thing, but like, just being real wishy-washy." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't blow off his wife's ass, but like, I
Yeah,
didn't really know him like that. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Well, they serve the warrant, and he's going to be going to, his trial and all that. The families agree to give him immunity if he tells them where the girls are at. Because the investigators at this point have kind of pieced together what happened that night based on everything in this investigation and kind of what Busick wanted to give away. When the families agreed to immunity, he started basically telling them what happened. And the story goes that Danny owed them some money. Because remember, Pennington was like the kingpin with meth, and they made meth and all that stuff. So Danny owed them money, and they went there to collect. Well, it went bad, obviously, because they shot and killed Danny and Kathy. They set the trailer on fire. The girls escaped out the back door, and they went and hid in the woods. But these three men chased after them, apprehended them, drove them back to Welch's home, where they held them captive for 2 weeks. And like I said earlier, tortured them, drugged them, raped them, all that horrible stuff. Eventually, they killed the girls and disposed of their bodies. So part of the deal that was given to Busick was that he had to disclose the location of the girls in order to get this immunity. And this, from here on out, just really kind of going back to what you were saying, where there is evil in the world. This whole thing pisses me off, and I'll probably go on a little bit of a rant here. But Busick gives them a couple of locations. Investigators go out to these locations. They don't find anything. Somehow, I don't know. I don't know the nitty gritty of the agreement or how any of the court documents were laid out with this. But to me, if you're making a deal to, you're going to present this information and you get some sort of break, don't you think that they would make sure that they have those girls before they give him any sort of benefit of the doubt or give him his end of the deal?
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, yo, if they're not there in this lot, like we're gonna go look in one more spot, and if they're not there, dude, I'll fucking kill you myself.
Right. Right. The judge will pull out a shotgun and blow you away. But
we will set up an Epstein style thing where we'll just put you with a psycho that inspects your commissary. It's like, look, dude, like if this guy kills himself tonight, no way will we say it was you.
Well, they never found the girls, and they went to many, many places. Despite that, his charges were lessened to 1 count of accessory to murder, and he was sentenced to 10 years with 5 years probation. He pleads guilty, which is part of the deal. In 2020, he is, because initially he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of kidnapping. All of that was reduced to accessory to murder because of this deal he made that he couldn't keep his end of the bargain with in the first place. But they honored it, and in 2020, he was sentenced to, like I said, 10 years with 5 years probation. On May 19th of this year, Busick was released from prison after serving 2.5 years of his sentence with 5 years of probation, only 1 of which is supervised.
And where is he at?
He's just out living his life.
Yeah, where?
Pretty sure he's he's either in Kansas or Oklahoma. I'm not sure. One of those 2 places.
God, you know what? If the Lord blesses me with stage 4 cancer at some point, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm picking up what you're putting down. The reason why he was released so early is because of a policy within their corrections that...
Oh, sure. Yeah, some liberal fucking policy, some like pro-criminal, anti-2 little girls who ran and fled for their lives into the woods after 2 parents were murdered in front of them, and then they were chased in the cold, dark woods, probably barefoot in their pajamas, kidnapped and brought to another stinky fucking meth trailer where they were raped and tortured. But yeah, okay, let's give this guy a fucking break because he didn't give us really good information like he bargained for. Makes real fucking sense.
And the policy that got him out so early is 90 days credit for every 30 days served with good behavior. And just that policy in and of itself, I am not an expert on any policy, especially not in like the justice system at that level, but that policy in and of itself makes absolutely 0 sense to me. Why would you get triple time credit for whatever amount that you are good? I feel like if you're going to give people credit, it needs to be less than the time that they've been good.
Like Derek Chauvin, who had a bad fucking day, is going to do every bit of those 22 years. And you got this dirtbag. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
You know, you got the guys in the Sergeant Mattingly case about to go to trial for being really great human beings. And if they get found guilty, they'll do every bit of the 10, 15 years, whatever they get. But this dude who does the unspeakable, who crosses the line, not to say, like, I mean, there is a line with murder. There is a line. These fucking guys cross the line. You know what I'm saying? You could have let those girls just be gone in those woods. That doesn't have anything to do with your meth debt. But no, you're an evil fucking person. And you know what? They need to be eradicated from the fucking planet.
It's not as
And if I didn't have 5 kids, I would make this my life's mission.
An accessory, right? An accessory to murder charge to me is like, oh, I fucked up when I was dumb and I was a getaway driver for a robbery that went wrong, or that's, to me, that's accessory to murder.
Dude, yeah,
this is not
dirtbag. Like, okay, the Boondock Saints, they would have hammered this dude. Man on Fire, Denzel Washington. Yep, same thing, right? You know what I'm saying? That's how I base all my justified homicides.
Well,
those 2 movies. I asked myself, what would the Boondock Saints do?
It's a good question. Yeah, that's a really good
They'd be
barometer
putting
to
pennies
use.
over these dudes' eyes.
Yeah.
I hope
Well,
this asshole has officerprivacy.com and he's gotten his address and everywhere that he goes to the gym and anywhere that he goes to church. I hope he has officerprivacy.com, because if I ever get terminal cancer and I figure out where this simp lives, I'm leaving this world a happy man. I'm going to do the Lord's work.
I don't understand how anybody in that process.
Huh? How's that for an ad read? You like that, officerprivacy.com? That's the only thing that's going to help this dude right now. Officer Privacy. I'm so mad right now at this guy.
I know.
Just because I have 2 daughters. Like, I can't imagine the terror and the sheer fear that these girls felt running out into the woods. Like, I'm generally angry right now, Jrama. You generally made me angry.
Well,
pissed off.
I don't understand how anybody in this process from start to finish. Again, this is not necessarily blaming. I'm not blaming law enforcement at all on this. This is like how this is a system issue, which everybody screams about. How do you look at the circumstances of this case and not say, maybe this should not apply to someone? Like I said, it's not like he was part of a robbery gone wrong and it was willing parties and he fucked up and he was the getaway driver. He took many, many steps and he was a very active participant in a quadruple homicide. 2 of those victims he tortured and raped for 2 weeks. They're 16-year-old girls. And the fact that this guy is walking amongst the same community and in close-ish proximity to these families, who, by the way,
it wouldn't happen. It would not even happen. That couldn't even happen in my side. That couldn't even be a fucking realm of a possibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way. There's nowhere that dude could run. Nowhere that guy could hide. No, I'd follow that dude to the most southern tip of Playa Hermosa, Costa Rica, to end his bloodline. Anybody that shared that last name, I'd hunt them all down.
Well, it's only been a few. Well, it was in May, so we've got time
and continue it on.
Well, the horrible part about
Jocko's podcast, I used to laugh when he got so mad. He would like listen to these war stories and like they would be talking about like bad generals and bad sergeants. And he'd be like, ugh. And I would just make fun of him. I'd be like, dude, shut up. Like, how do you? Now I get it now. Now I feel bad for making fun of Jocko 10 years ago when I wasn't a podcaster. Now I understand. Now I've lived it. Now I've heard the story. I'm feeling the same emotions.
It's beyond. And the girls have never been found. So this man is walking the earth free while these girls are still out.
This guy.
Wherever the fuck they're at, and their families get to know that. They get to live their lives knowing that.
If we take up like a fund, if we like take up a fund for like prisoners and like let's just say like things happen and we pay for their commissary afterwards, is that illegal?
I mean, it just depends on how you word it. We could do it. We could figure it out.
Just kidding, you two, but God, dang it, dude.
So that is a very unfortunate end to that case. This guy, the justice that was handed down was literally nothing. 2.5 years. Dude, and now they get to live in the same area as this guy, knowing that their daughters are in the ground somewhere. God knows where. This guy knows where they're at.
How does this happen?
I don't know.
This is how John Wick movies are made. I feel like like I feel like going in and writing another John Wick.
This is one of those cases where, like you said earlier, we're very you and I are very pro law enforcement, and we understand how criminal investigations actually work, and we understand that a lot of these liberal true crime podcasts don't understand how that works, and it's very easy to place blame on law enforcement. It's very easy to say our justice system is broken and then do nothing about it. But these kind of cases, it's really, really disheartening because it makes it difficult to find any sort of redeeming quality when this guy's just out here. I don't know. Yeah, I feel the same way that you do. And I had like a rant to myself when I was researching this. I'm like, these stupid motherfuckers like was walking around my house like, what the fuck? But it's so infuriating that this is like, does anybody have any fucking brains?
I don't think this is crazy. It's like, I don't mean there's a difference between Oklahoma and Johnson County, North Carolina, but I don't feel like he would be able to walk around Johnson County. You know what I'm saying? Like this small town of mine, try that in a small town. Like seriously, I'm 99% sure that a dude like that would not be walking around this town for very long. And I
maybe
don't
he
think local
went
law
somewhere
enforcement
else.
would give a fuck, nor would they try to solve that crime. You know what I'm saying? Like if that dude was like blood eagled between like two oak trees, like I think our local law enforcement would be like, man, that looks like a suicide.
Yeah.
Well, mark of death, suicide. Even though he's still alive,
exactly.
he's like, I'm still alive.
No, you're not. You hear that? I don't hear anything. Yeah, so that it's an infuriating case from start to finish, and it's just listening to Lorene talk about her daughter, and Ashley's parents are both dead, and so is Ashley. So actually, the entire family is now dead because Shane was killed by Craig County. But so a lot of the information you hear is about Laura because her family's still here to talk about her. But Lorene was saying the kind of person she was, that night that she went there, she brought all of her Christmas money because she wanted to take Ashley out to get her whatever she wanted for her birthday. And that was what they were going to do the next day because it was Ashley's birthday. 16-year-old girls. And this fucking asshole is just out here being a piece of shit. And they're God knows where. It's just
John Bates, if you're listening to this, I want you to make like 1,000 fucking reels about this guy still being out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get his picture out there in case is there anybody here that's from Kansas or Oklahoma? You want to go on a little side mission, maybe?
Right. Just shame him. Just publicly shame him. That's all we're asking.
Right. Of course.
Public shaming, a little video in the face. Video in the face.
Of course. Yes.
No.
Repeatedly.
I mean, honestly, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I struggle with that. I struggle with that as a cop. There's a lot of conversations that I would have with my wife on that exact subject. But you know what? Fortunately for me as a cop, I ran over. I mean, as you did, right? Ran across some cases of pure evil where you're just like, I'm not even going to talk about it, because we'll get removed from YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'll just leave it at vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. We just have to let it. We just have to trust. If you're a believer, you just have to trust that God is the overarching judge of these things. But it's very difficult, and it tests my patience and it tests my resolve. I'm a little bit different now because I'm not a cop and I have 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, that was something I really struggled with. And
I
wonder if other cops struggle with it.
I did. Obviously, you can only do so much, and you get to be the one to take these people into custody a lot of the time, and it feels good in the moment, and then you walk away and you're like, that's not enough. It's not enough. And to me, it's like
that guy run into the woods.
Yeah.
Away from video cameras.
To me, it's like, okay, you are redeemable in the eyes of the Lord, but in this life, you commit something like this, and there is no place for you here on earth.
Yeah.
Take it up with Jesus, because it's like, no, you can't be here. I mean, you can be here if you want to. I didn't say that, but
I'm gonna make it really difficult for you to be here.
Right.
If I lived in that neighborhood, I would egg his house every night. That's what I would. I'd toilet paper his yard every single night.
High power egg cannons.
Toilet paper that just disintegrates.
Just disintegrates.
It's so hard to pick up. Yeah, take that, you fucking rapist, murderer, piece of shit. All right, we got some shout outs to cheer me up. It's somebody's birthday tonight. Somebody's birthday. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
Whose birthday is it?
Well, it's our very own John Bates's birthday.
Ryan Froz Frazese. By the way, does anybody follow the? We had him on the show before. Frazese, the mob guy. I forget his name now. Michael Frazese? No, Michael. Yeah, Michael Frazese. I don't know, but anyway, Ryan Frazese is in the chats, and you missed it, Ryan. You missed one of the darkest episodes of true crime ever. Congratulations. I'm in a bad mood now because of Jrama in this case that had the fucking worst ending of all time. So get out of
I'm
my
not
face,
sorry
Ryan.
because people
Get out of my
people need to
face.
hear it.
Captain Micah, fuck off. Will Cray, I don't want to hear any of your shit either. Marines bloodbath, eat a dick. All of you. I'm just kidding.
I got a shout
All right,
out as well.
What do we have? Go ahead.
I can say his name, right? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
say the
I'm
name.
new to these shout outs. All right.
Unless they say
Dave-
I want anonymous.
Right. Well, I don't see that in here, so I'm going to say your name. Sorry. David Osbernson wants to give a shout out to Teresa K for being an amazing friend, even though she's a Lions fan, which is saying a lot because my team sucks right now. That's what he says.
You have
So
okay.
Teresa K,
David Osborne
shout out.
was an OG drinking bro fan. He's still a big drinking bro, but he's also still a big Taylor Swift guy, which is really cool, man. He's always been really cool. He's always been really special. There's a couple of people. Well, there's more than a couple now that when I make it big, that I'm gonna like reward. You know what I'm saying? Like where I'm gonna take them to like Vegas, or I'm gonna take them on a cruise. I'm gonna pay for it. He's one of them. Like he's one of the core OGs that have been there since those day one homies that you wouldn't have made it if you wouldn't have seen them in the chats. Dave Osbornson's one of those guys. Ryan Frazee is one of them too. I have to take him on there mainly just because he's another skate dad that I can relate to. Probably like the only one I can relate to these days. Big skate daddy over there, a fellow skate daddy. So appreciate you, Ryan. You got another shout out? I think you had two, right?
Oh, just a shout out for John's birthday.
Oh, Jonathan's birthday. Jonathan Bates' birthday. Happy birthday, Jonathan. Tomorrow we're live, 11 o'clock. Conservative Ant is joining us in some political commentary tomorrow. All of the guys are going to be here. That's how Last Call is going. It's going to be a round table of all the political news. We're covering everything tomorrow. We've got Tim Ballard. We got that case on the docket. We've got Russell Brand on the docket. We've got California's new LGBTQ book fine if you don't put the books in your school libraries. We've got Bidenomics. We've got Ukraine. We've got the Canadian Nazi who was applauded. All of that going down tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be joined by Drew Breezy, Jonathan Bates, Deadleg Media, and Conservative Ant. We'll be going through all the crazy news. Make sure that you support our sponsors. Go to officerprivacy.com/Wolfpack. Go to ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. Get you sleep so good it's scary. The only way that I slept at Jrama's house comfortably was with my ghost bed. Yeah.
I saw you got rid of all my pillows.
I did. I got rid of all your pillows. And so people are probably thinking, like, did I lay with Jrama? That's not true. I did not.
Nope.
She was in the guest bedroom. And I was right up next to her kid's bedroom. So that was definitely my own room, for those of you who are thinking ahead of things. I slept with my ghost bed pillow and my ghost. So I had a good time. But
I have a couple of
big
ghosts.
Shout out. Yeah, that house could be haunted. Like, I wasn't going to say anything in front of you, but in front of our fans, I'll say, like, that house could fucking be haunted. Like, seance candles.
It is haunted.
Incense. Like, I felt like I was in a true crime episode. I was like, I might be in the basement without a kidney at the end of tonight. No, but she's the producer of Anti-Hero Podcast, so I got to hang up to the wee hours of the morning with the Anti-Hero Podcast guys, and that was a blast after going on their podcast. So make sure you go follow Anti-Hero Podcast. Make sure you find Anthony Ramonde's new show, Night Shift TSI. That show's doing really, really well. It's up to 55 reviews in 4 weeks. We need a lot more of that. It's having a hard time making it onto the algorithm because there are a lot of shows called Night Shift. But in TSI, the algorithm hasn't really picked that up yet. I don't think the algorithm understands that. So we need every single person to head over to Night Shift TSI or go to Night Shift Top Secret Information Instagram page. It's called Night Shift TSI, and the link is there. If you're having a hard time finding it on Google, I know it's a lot to ask, but sorry about that. Got the coughs. And but yeah, go over there and give a 5-star rating and review so that show can make it onto the charts. Right now, Failure to Stop podcast channel, sit number 223 on the charts. If we can move 23 more spots, we will be trending top 200, which means we'll usually venture back up into that top 100 pretty quickly. That's how it works. And then we drift back after the excitement's kind of over. As you guys know, at the beginning of the summer, we were in the top 200. We've now pushed back to the top 223. And those ratings and reviews go a lot. The top charts are based a lot on ratings and reviews. So that's why we're always asking for rating and reviews, and hit that automatic download button. That helps us a lot too. And then, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. For myself and Jrama, you want to close us out tonight, girl?
Yeah. So real quick, next week is the first week of October. There's 5 weeks in October, and I'm doing like spooky Halloween horror movie theme type cases. So make sure you tune in. I'm going to have a guest host at some point.
For each one?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that actually.
Okay.
That would be really fun. I'm going to do a couple of like spooky things on the Instagram. I'm going to do some vlogs and things like that. So make sure you follow me. True Crime Drama. And like I said, I will have a guest host, so it'll switch up at least for one episode. One of my very best friends who is a law enforcement officer is going to be doing that. So that'll be fun. So I'm really excited about it. I love Halloween, obviously. So just make sure you watch. Come to the live. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Share us with a friend. Share us on your Facebook.
Absolutely.
13 followers. It still counts.
Yeah.
Share us on audio and share us on things. We really want to be the number one. That's all I want for Christmas. I want to be the number one police-related channel on the planet. And we're doing all those things. By the way, book news coming very soon. Like, I'm starting to get depressed. I mean, it's like Christmas Eve for me every single day. I just don't know if tomorrow's going to be the Christmas or not. We're supposed to be under contract by October 1st, and it's September 26th. So I am just waiting for the contract. And listen, I'm checking my email every 5 minutes. And it's getting ridiculous, but there should be news in the next 4 days on the book front, and it'll be very exciting. So stay tuned. Go ahead and take us out there, Jrama.
All right. Thanks for sticking out with the sad story. Next week's going to be disgusting. Can't wait to see you. As always, stay safe, stay strange, and whatever you do, don't get yourself true crimed.